Thank you obviously for joining me, Armelle. And what is it that you do?
I work in marketing for a tech firm.
Lovely. And what do you like about your work?
So I said this before as being maybe the downside of things getting started, but one of the big things for me is that it's flexible working. And I think with marketing being a very creative industry, with all these different unique agencies popping up, I don't work for an agency, but I work in-house, and I think it often shared knowledge, experiences, the way that they work kind of merged together. So flexible working is definitely something that I really enjoy, mainly because I can retreat when I want to. And if I'm feeling too overwhelmed, if I'm feeling too overworked, my brain is just having enough or just can't comprehend something, I know that there's no pressure for me to stay by my desk and work through it, which is a really great thing to have. What I also love about my job, the marketing industry, strangely, I was looking at an article a few weeks ago, and it said the top job that dyslexics should avoid is marketing specialist, which I found quite funny. And the reason being, it said that there are the expectations and the role, and all the different types of jobs that you play within that role are all you're spread quite thin.
Okay.
And you're here, there and everywhere, and often like the industry is going so fast that a dyslexic will struggle to catch up, which I don't agree with at all. No. I think the onus is on the workplace to make adoptions for that person, because it doesn't affect intelligence at all. So it should be the workplace's like onus to make those changes. So I guess what I would take from that is that marketing is a very diverse industry. It's very creative, which means that there's a space for everyone, all different types of thinking, ideas. And it's one of those industries that has a lot of humility in that if something doesn't work out, it's absolutely fine. We learn from our mistakes and we move on, because to a certain extent, we can't control things. Like we can't control necessarily to the extent of how well a sales call will go, because we can't, step aside and think, okay, well, we could have done this better, we could have done that better, etc. But we can look at it afterwards and use that and then grow. And I feel like it takes the pressure off someone with dyslexia.
It's an adaptable, to an extent, industry, and it needs to, obviously, like you say, it needs to become even more adaptable. But obviously, it's something you can learn. How did you get started out within marketing?
Within marketing, so in year 10 or so, I knew that I either wanted to do marketing or buying after university. I'd had a bit of resistance for going to university. One with my GCSE results, they came back all B's, but I went to a private school that was like still not good enough.
Yeah.
And at sixth form, to be fair, I was thinking about philosophy as well, going into that philosophy sphere or geography. I think my dyslexic brain kind of didn't hone in on one specific thing. I just wanted to do everything because I just wanted to try everything out. But where I started professionally with marketing, it was quite funny actually. There was a marketing agency right next door to my house, and I needed a placement at uni. So I reached out and asked if I could spend 10 months working there. And then I built it up from there. So it wasn't necessary. I was thinking about it. However, I would definitely say that I kind of accidentally stepped into it.
Seems to be the way quite often sometimes with people, doesn't it? And obviously, I know you put it so much time into your Instagram. That is obviously dedicated to kind of dyslexia, and a lot. You obviously talk a lot about the workplace. How did that start out from just a place of enjoyment, or did you go into it wanting to reach so many people, kind of thing?
Yeah, I get what you mean. it was less enjoyment. I found that after a few months of working on it, and I really enjoy it. And because I work in marketing, I felt comfortable managing a social page and understanding the different aspects that you could add into it, but also the power of a community as well, seeing it from like in-house or agency. But what really sparked it, and I sat on it for a few months, was things that were happening outside that made me think, hang on, it's 2020, and this was back last year, it's 2020, why are people still having these thoughts and mindsets, and why are they still stereotyping? Why is it such a strong, why do you feel the urge to completely change your mindset about someone just because they express themselves as dyslexic? And the more I read up about it, the more I realized it was still seen as just reading and writing, and that it affected intelligence. And it meant that people couldn't trust people with dyslexia. That's what I was getting, like the aura that I was getting around people as they were starting to like open up about what they didn't know about dyslexia. So I thought, well, I know how this is making me feel. This is making me feel not nice at all, to feel kind of at the brutal end of it. And I didn't want to feel like anyone else was in charge of my own career progression. And I realized I needed to start embracing it and understanding what works for me, what support I need, and then from there I can communicate that and be strong about it. And I thought, if I'm thinking that, other people are thinking that too.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said before, with the article that you read, you would hope if someone was to read that article, they could also find your page and go, well, that's not true. That's kind of, you know, this is actually how it can work. This is how it can be. So obviously, what would you say, and this can apply to marketing, but obviously the wider scale of work, and probably generally to maybe people who suffer with dyslexia, what would you say for them starting out today in, like, in marketing or in anything?
Yeah, I would say to them, be completely honest and upfront with things in place today, like Access to Work, which is government granted support and technology, and with the Equalities Act 2010. The government's completely in your court with it, and the only way that you can really start to flesh out those perhaps negative attitudes and mindsets is if you're honest about it from the start. Because what you don't want to find yourself in is a situation where you have dug yourself a hole of feeling really insecure about where you work, who you're working with. So it's easier to be honest from the start about your dyslexia. And I think from there, you can start to maybe look back in hindsight and then grow your confidence in that way, and maybe understand that, you know, there are good people out there, there are bad people out there, and you've got to be really true to yourself and not let anyone affect that.